National Cultural Arts Program, where we learn about different cultures, holidays, and kindness acts through the most iconic, unique, and influential people in their industry. This month's purpose is empowering youth and making sure that the new generation knows that they have a voice and can change the world for the good. All of the proceeds that we raise through this video will go towards funding the Sub for Santa project. This is a project that has been going on for 30 years through the Performance with Purpose program, where we give presents to underprivileged children who would be without this holiday season. Every penny counts. If you'd like to donate, please visit www.performancewithpurposefoundation.com. We have 300 kids this year, so any penny really does count. But enough of my rambling. Let's go on to what all of you came here for, Julie and Marley.
Hi.
Julia, how are you today?
I'm so good. How are you?
I am doing really good, and even better since now we're on this interview. So let's just get started. How old were you when you started acting?
Well, I came out of the womb singing and dancing. I was like doing, putting on little plays for my neighbors when they didn't ask. And my parents, not being in the industry, were like, okay, what do we do with this kid? And so my parents have always been really supportive, and they found a community theater, and I just fell in love. And I was doing plays in the summer, and I was doing every show in the community. And I was just like I was just an ultimate theater kid. I would go from show to show, and I just loved it. And then when I was about 12, I started to become interested in on-camera acting. And I live about an hour from LA. So I had some friends who were auditioning for commercials, and I was like, oh my God, that sounds really cool. And of course, I grew up watching Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and all of that. So I kind of started dabbling in on-camera acting when I was like 13, 14. But then I started doing professional theater and dance. And so I had, a lot going on with that. And I truly wouldn't say I really started focusing on-camera acting until 2020.
Nice. And how old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 19.
19. Okay. Yeah. So what inspired you / how did you know that you wanted to be a professional actress or actor?
Yeah. So like I said, I just grew up doing community theater, and I loved it with my whole heart. And I never thought like, this is like what I'm going to do with my life, or I'm going to do something else. I just was following what made me happy. And then when I was 14, I did my first professional theatrical production, which was my biggest dream at the time. I did Children of Eden, and it was the most incredible experience. And getting to work with adults who've been on Broadway and who do this for a living and get to perform, that really opened my eyes, because just doing community theater, I didn't see what was beyond, I didn't see what the next step was or how to make it a career. And that experience, it's not that I didn't know before that that's what I wanted to do. It just totally solidified the dream. And it really made me feel like, okay, now I kind of see what the future could look like if I work really hard and follow this passion. And so that was my awakening, I guess, for theater and following my passion for Broadway. But I was 14, and like I said, I had dabbled in TV and film, but it wasn't something that I really fell in love with or knew much about truly. And I was fortunate enough to dance in The Prom, and we filmed that March of 2020. And that experience truly is what made me really want to focus on acting, because on that set, I got to witness so many incredible people who had a monster career on Broadway and in film. And, I booked the movie when I was 17, and I filmed it when I was 18. So at that time in your life, you're thinking about a lot of things in your future. And I just saw so many people that I was getting to work with who had an incredible career as a performer in both TV, film, and Broadway. And then I was like, oh my God, okay, got it. That's what I need to do. So that's why 2020, I just said, this is going to be my year of focusing on acting. And then the pandemic happened. And crazily enough, it kind of all went better than I even could have imagined. So I feel very grateful.
Great. So the next question is, what is your favorite memory that you've ever had on set?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's so hard to choose, because every opportunity I don't like to think of it as like a stepping stone because I want to like really, really be present and enjoy the journey, but every opportunity is just so special. And so it's hard to even compare, but two that come to mind, um, we wrapped the prom. It was like 1 a.m. and we'd been going for probably 17 hours straight. And it was the last number in the movie. So there were 300 extras, 50 dancers, all the principals. It was just crazy. And this was the week before the world shut down. Like this was literally the last week of March before we went into isolation. So just craziness. But after we wrapped, someone started playing We Are the Champions. And we all just got into this, all of us got into this big group huddle. And we were just singing and celebrating together. And there's a video, I think Ryan Murphy had posted it. And the movie actually came out December 11th. So tomorrow it will be a year, which is wild, so beyond wild. But I just rewatched that video, and the people who were, you know, in that huddle and singing are so many people who I admire and look up to, and getting to celebrate an accomplishment like that and be a part of it with people that I just am like so inspired by. It was just, I can't even process that it happened. It was so incredible. And then from the J team, literally every second of that was a dream. Like when I explain that entire experience, because I'm a huge manifestor, like law of attraction, I'm very much, you know, into all of that. The entire experience, I swear, was literally a page of like my journal where I manifest ripped out and put to life. Like it's so unbelievable how the universe can work its magic. But probably my favorite day from that, we had our gallery shoot for the poster, which I didn't know I was going to be. I didn't know what the cover, you know, the cover art was going to look like. And it was my first film where I got to act. It was my first like lead. I had no idea, you know? And so we had this gallery shoot. I didn't even really know what it was for. And I think those are the most special moments when you don't even know what's coming and you just experience it, because that day, and I did a vlog for my channel, and I'm so happy that I did because I can look back and like really just remember how special that was. But it was like an 8-hour day. We're just doing this photo shoot for all of the promo photos, and we all just had so much fun. And it was one of those moments where I just pinched myself and I was like, I can't believe that this is my life. I feel just like it's just so grateful.
The next one is, how do you get ready for an audition, or how do you prepare for an audition?
Yeah, well, you mean for like acting on camera or for theater?
Either one. What are like your different routines, like versus theater and TV? Or
I guess for TV, since for the past few years, it's, you know, self-tape. The first thing I do is obviously I get the email, I read through everything, and I just try to research everyone attached to the project. If there's a full script attached, I'll read it front to back and just try to like learn as much as I can about the project and the people attached. And then depending on the project, depending on size of the role, depending on how comfortable I feel with the material, I'll either reach out to a coach or maybe reach out to a friend, or just kind of do it, you know, by myself. And then I set up my self-tape area literally right here. I have my chairs, I have my blue screen, I have my, I actually use a cat scratcher, and then literally all of my yearbooks from kindergarten to 8th. Like this is my tripod for my computer. A cat scratcher, 9 yearbooks, and then a box, and then my computer. So that's literally what that looks like. And so that's my setup, but I will obviously memorize the lines. Yeah, either work with a coach or just kind of work with a friend or whatever. And then once I feel really comfortable, I will either get a friend to be my reader or work with a coach, film it, and then hopefully I am really proud of it and send it over to my reps. So that's what the process is like for an acting role. For theater, honestly, I haven't had an in-person theater audition, you know, in so long because of the pandemic. But I guess before, if I was going an audition for theater, I'd obviously pack all of my dance shoes because you literally never know. And I have like a book with my audition songs that I like to use. And depending on the show, I would, you know, pick a song and work on that. Yeah. And I mean, when you go to a theater audition, you learn the dance combo there. So you don't really have to prepare anything like that. And I would just work on the song that I was going to plan on singing with my voice coach and then show up.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you're not preparing or on set, what do you like to do?
Oh, I really, really, really love writing. And I'm like the biggest like journal junkie. I'm constantly journaling literally all day. I have so like, for example, I have like these kinds of journals, like a 5-year question a day, and I do them. Like I just got this new one that I saw and I could not resist because it was like, let's review your year and asking all of these like questions about your year and planning for the future. I just love all that kind of stuff. So I'm constantly writing. I actually swim twice a week and I really love swimming. So that's been really fun. What else do I do? Yeah, I mean, honestly, most of my life is like acting, singing, dancing, because that's those are my passions. But I love songwriting. Sometimes I'll dabble at the piano. Yeah.
Nice. Um, so you are also a dancer.
Mhm.
Um, when did you start dancing?
Um, I guess growing up in community theater, I was dancing, and then I was also, taking classes at like my home studio. But as I started to do professional theater, weirdly enough, like this has nothing to do with my journey in theater. I started seeing videos online from the ALDCLA and those hip hop classes. And I saw them on YouTube and I was like, oh my God, I just found this love and passion for hip hop, which I don't know where it came from because there is no hip hop bone in my body. And it was nothing that came remotely natural to me. And I guess I took like hip hop classes growing up, but nothing to the, extent of dancing in LA. And I just was like mesmerized. And so I just watched all of the videos from Millennium and ALDC LA and all of the kids that were in those videos. I just was so inspired by. And it took me probably a few years to work up the courage to just go. And I finally did. And it was cool because in the first class I ever took in LA, Maddie and Mackenzie Ziegler were taking the class. Yeah, I know. So it was pretty cool. And a lot of the kids who I'd been watching on YouTube were also in the class. So it was a really exciting first experience for me. And I
It's like
just,
full circle with you with all of the dance moms kids.
yeah, I did go to a few classes at ALDC LA, only a few. And it's a drive for us. So I went to a few classes and I was terrible. I literally like sometimes I would go and not pick up a single step, but I was so mesmerized by these kids who just performed. And I loved how hip hop, it's like you're acting while you're dancing and you just become so confident. And I don't know, I just loved it. And so as I continued to do theater, I would go into LA and take these classes, and that passion opened up so many doors. And I ended up getting a dance agent and I would audition for dance projects. And I got a dance on the Netflix show Dead to Me, which was an incredible opportunity. And then obviously without that intense training, there's no way I would have booked the prom, which then gave me this awakening for acting. So everything is so connected. It's kind of crazy. And when I look back at all of that, it just really it reminds me to always follow the fun and follow what inspires you, even if like there were plenty of people in my community who no one was like, oh, go train in hip hop. Like no one was saying that. I just found this passion and I was like, why would I not follow it? It makes me happy. And then it's opened so many doors and led to so many incredible opportunities that have come so full circle. So yeah, it's wild.
How many dance styles do you know, and what is your favorite type of dance, or what is your favorite style of dance?
Well, definitely hip hop. And I'm trained in, jazz, tap, ballet, contemporary, all of the traditional styles, but hip hop for sure is where my heart is.
Nice. Who is an actor that inspires you?
There are so many, but right now, Ariana DeBose, who have you seen West Side Story, the new movie? Like,
Not yet, but I am so excited to see
yeah,
it.
yeah. So I guess it technically comes out today, but I saw it last night. And Ariana plays Anita, and she also played Alyssa in The Prom, and she was the original Bullet in Hamilton, and she was in Schmigadoon, and she just has the most incredible resume. But besides that, so I got to work with her in the prom, and I had known who she was beforehand, but getting to have multiple conversations with her and see her work and just, witness her magic, I just became the biggest fan of her. And I actually was in New York this past July, and she was performing at Tavern on the Green. So I got to see her in that. And she just, like, there's so many people who have a lot of credits and who have done a lot of incredible things, right? But like, it's not about that. It's who you are as a person and who you are as you go on your journey. And she just inspires me so much because she's so genuine and kind and humble. And so I've been watching like all the interviews for West Side Story, and I just feel so grateful to have gotten the chance to work with her and talk to her and get to know her a little bit. But yeah, she's definitely my biggest inspiration right now, I would say.
Nice. If you could do a film with any actor or artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh. Well, I technically got to do a film with Ariana, but I would love to work with her again and work, more closely. Zendaya, because duh. I love Jane the Virgin. So Gina Rodriguez, or anyone from that cast, I would just be so beyond flattered to work with them. I love Grey's Anatomy, so Ellen Pompeo or anyone from that cast. I would love to work with Lin-Manuel Miranda. Obviously, he's incredible. I don't know, there are so many.
Everybody.
Literally everybody. Yeah, everybody.
All right. What other areas of art have you dabbled in other than acting, singing, and dancing?
I have an original song on iTunes and Spotify, and that was just a personal goal back in 2019 because I was writing a lot of songs and I was just like, I'm just going to go for it. And so I would love to start songwriting back up again. I definitely did it more back in 2019, but I love songwriting. I just love writing in general. Other areas of art. I'm not sure. I work with a special needs theater group. So I'm a mentor. I've been doing that for 8 years. And that's really special to me. And I guess I am still getting to perform, but getting to mentor other performers is really special. And for Willy Wonka, which is the show that we just closed last week, I got to choreograph for the first time. And I've assisted choreographed a few times growing up in theater, but it was the first time where I got to, take on the role of choreographer and really create this vision for the show and see it come to life. So that was really, really cool. And it's just, I love being on different sides of all of it. I've gotten to sit behind a table a few times and watch audition processes for musicals, and that is unbelievable. But I just always want to expand and I've been taking voiceover lessons.
All right.
But yeah, I'm always trying to just learn and grow and challenge myself.
Nice. Let's see. What is your favorite movie, whether you've been in it or not?
Oh my gosh. I just saw King Richard, and I actually went to the SAG screening of that. So the cast, including Will Smith, did a Q&A, live. They sat very close to the fifth row. And obviously that was super cool. But I love Will Smith, and that movie have you seen it?
No, but I've been wanting. So right now I've kind of taken a hiatus from regular movies and TV shows because it's the Christmas time. Yeah. So you have to watch Elf and Santa Claus and all of those Christmassy movies. So yeah.
In January, King Richard. Yes. I mean, I love true stories that are so inspiring, and the movie is just so well done. And obviously, Venus and Serena Williams' story is beyond incredible. And Bohemian Rhapsody too is, a true story that is just so inspiring, and it just fills you up with so much hope. So those two for sure are at the top of my list right now.
I love Bohemian Rhapsody. Being a music person and my grandpa being a drummer, it's amazing to watch stories like that because it really makes you feel closer to your family and that into the music.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the J Team?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So the J Team is a Nickelodeon original movie musical starring JoJo Siwa, and I play her arch nemesis, which it's just very ironic to me because in real life, I'm like the biggest JoJo fan, and I have been for so long. And basically, the story follows JoJo. She's on a dance team and then gets kicked off because she is just simply being herself. And then she goes on to form her own dance team where everyone gets to be, unique and it's inclusive. And that's kind of the gist of the story. And the soundtrack to the movie is her new album, which she'll be performing on tour. And I love the music. It was really, really fun to listen to just such like upbeat, inspirational lyrics all the time. So yeah, that's the gist of the movie. And it was just such an incredible experience.
My mom and I watched that movie, and it is hilarious and so cute. So it was amazing to watch.
Thank you.
Let's see. What was your favorite part about being part of the J Team?
Like I said before, every aspect of the entire experience was eerily a dream. Like it kind of freaked me out how full circle. I've auditioned to be a dancer in JoJo's music videos over the years, probably 4 times. And I have wanted to work with her and I've been inspired by her for so long. And the fact that this opportunity was like now the reason why all of those jobs I didn't get because this was meant to happen. I don't know, it just makes me so excited about life in general. But I think getting to be a part of her story and getting to help spread the messages of just not only self-love, but loving others unconditionally and just being unique and celebrating everyone. There are universal messages for anyone at any age. Like, of course, the movie is, probably meant for kids, who are like, I would say 8 to 11 or 12, but anyone could take away from that message and be enlightened and inspired. And I'm really, really proud to be a small part of her story.
Well, you should be very proud of being part of the J Team because it was a wonderful movie and you did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Let's see. What genre of movies or TV is your favorite?
Well, I love, 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 love musical movies, musical series, anything that incorporates singing and dancing as well as acting. Obviously, as a Broadway lover, theater kid, anything that just like combines the 3, I love. So shows like Julie and the Phantoms and High School Musical, the musical, the series, I just adore. And then I love comedies. Jane the Virgin is just, I love it. It's so funny and uplifting. And my role in the J Team, I just had so much fun with like the comedy side of it. And I just was like bitten by the comedy bug. And I love it so much.
Have you ever seen Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist?
You know what? It's been on my list. And I can't believe I still haven't seen it. Is it really good?
I want to see it. It ended on such a cliffhanger. I am so sad that it's no longer continuing because it was so amazing and hilarious. It's all of the things that you just said put together.
I know. And you know what? It films in Vancouver, and I have so many friends now who have danced on it because people I've met on the J Team. Oh. And I don't know. It's been on my list. What network is it on? Or like, where do you watch it on?
Oh, we watched it just like on regular TV when it came out. I'm not exactly sure where it is right now. I feel like it bounces back and forth between different networks.
Okay.
But it is so good. It's got Bernadette Peters and I forgot the actor's name, but the mom from Elf, which is like so amazing to see her.
Watch it. Yeah.
It's amazing. All right. What would you love to do next? Like TV, another film, a period piece, superheroes, rom-com? Like, what is your next thing that you really want to do?
The dream is 1000% a musical series or another musical movie. That is exactly what I want to do. The J Team was so special because I got to dance and I didn't get to sing, but the music in the movie was like totally aligned with what I love. And my role, had comedy. So that's exactly what I want to do next. I guess a comedic role in a musical movie or series.
What is the coolest slash out of body experience that you've ever had?
I spoke about this in that video, but definitely, so for those who I guess didn't see that, we had a rehearsal for the prom where we had to put all the principals into the dance number. Because in the final number in the film, obviously, like all the principals were in it, which is so crazy. But I walked into the room at Paramount where we actually auditioned. So it was always very full circle just rehearsing in that room, because I remember standing there in front of Casey Nicola auditioning, not even thinking in my wildest dreams that I'd end up booking it. Like, so crazy. Anyway, I walk in and I see James Corden, I see Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, Keegan-Michael Key, all of them just kind of like hanging out, and all the dancers, we walked in and we're just like trying to keep our cool because, you know, we're getting paid to be there. Like we can't start crying or freaking out. We have to contain ourselves and do our job, and then we can leave and completely freak out.
Cry in your pillow.
Exactly. And so, yeah, it was so funny. All the dancers were just trying so hard to not show that we were freaking out. And Casey had all of the principals sit against the mirror so we could show them the dance because we had learned it. I don't think they'd learned it yet. So we performed the dance for them, and all of the choreography in the movie was identical to the Broadway production. It was because Casey Nicola directed and choreographed the prom on Broadway and then choreographed the movie. So it was the exact same choreography. And our dance captains, Brendan Stimson and Jack Sipple, are both Broadway performers. Jack Sipple was the dance captain in the prom on Broadway. Brendan's was in Mean Girls with Casey. He's in West Side Story, Newsies, Something Rotten. Like they're both so incredible, and they were teaching us all the choreography. So for me, just to be working with them and learning from them, and this is actually a little side note that's crazy. When I got the audition for the prom, I was in the airport going to New York just to tag along with my dad on a business trip. And so the first round was a singing audition. So I just was literally in the hotel. I stacked my camera up on my suitcase and just like tried to make a tripod. The lighting was horrendous. And then I sang, sent that in. And the next night I saw Mean Girls, and Brendan, one of our dance captains, was in the show. And I had no idea that he'd be a part of the prom, or that I'd even get the chance to audition for him, let alone work with him and get to know him a little bit. And looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I was at the stage door, just watching all these actors come out, and little did I know that I'd be getting to work with Brendan. Anyway, so we were in the rehearsal and putting the principals into our number and just being with them, I guess, for 2 to 3 hours in that room was like, I can't even process that happened. You know what I mean? Like that's just insane. And then the other surreal moment that I talk about, and I'm still like, what? It was the first day of filming the J Team, and they took a few of us aside, me and then the 2 girls who play the Rubies and then JoJo, to do interviews. And I didn't know this was happening. And the woman told me, okay, you're going to say, hi, my name is Julia Marley, and I play Nina in the new Nickelodeon original movie musical, The J Team. And I was like, I had that moment of, oh my God, I've been watching those videos on Nickelodeon's YouTube channel, where the actors are, doing that little promo. And it just was that total out of body experience of like, oh my God, some other kid is going to possibly watch me saying this, just how I still watch other people saying this. And funny enough, I don't think those interviews ever actually saw the light of day, because I can't find them anywhere, but I swear it happened. It did happen. But it was very, very, very surreal.
Wow, that's amazing. Let's see. Sorry. What was the audition process like for the J Team? So you spoke a little bit about this, but what was the full audition process like? Yeah, so my audition process for the J Team lasted a month, and it actually was around this time last year. And I think I made close to, this is insane, I made close to 80 videos throughout the month-long audition process of just me, talking about how I was feeling, because I wanted this job
more than life itself. Like I can't even articulate how much I wanted this for so many reasons. So it was mid-November, and I got the email with the information about the movie. At the time, it was called The Dance Team. It wasn't called The J Team, and the main character's name was Coco. I don't know if they didn't want to give it away that it was JoJo yet, but I read the log line and it said sparkles, it said Nickelodeon, it said dancing, and I was like, well, duh, of course it's JoJo. Like, who else? And I was really excited because, like I said, I've been wanting to work with her for a very long time. And I initially did not audition for the role that I played in the movie. I auditioned for the Rubies. And for those of you who have not seen the film, the Rubies are the two girls who are JoJo's best friends in the movie. So I auditioned for both of them. I had never even heard of my character, Nina. And so I worked with two different coaches, and I filmed my tape for those two characters, and I had so much fun. I genuinely just let go and had so much fun, which I know is one of the reasons why I progressed in the audition process, because when you just surrender and you just let your own light shine, I feel like that's the magic. And then I also had to improv to a song that they provided and film like a dance video. So I choreographed something and then I went to the studio, my mom filmed it. And so I sent in my tapes. A week later, I found out that I was going to be doing a work session with casting. And I had never auditioned for these casting directors before. So I was really, really excited. So I went on Zoom and I got some redirects from the casting directors, and they were wonderful. And it was really, really cool. And the entire audition process was just, I learned so much, And then when did I find out I was going to the producer session? I think a few days later, I can't remember, but I think a few days later, I found out that I was going to be having a producer session. And that was my first time getting past the callback, my first ever producer session. And I was so excited. And so that was really cool because people from, the network were on the Zoom, and I got to work with Michael Lembeck, our director, who won an Emmy for directing Friends. And I wasn't told who was going to be directing the film before I did the producer session. And so after I was finished, I looked him up and I was like, Mom, this man is like incredible. And so I just felt so grateful to even have had the opportunity to work with him on Zoom, let alone end up working with him. And it went really, really well. And then that next morning, I found out that I was still in the mix, but we didn't know what the next step was. And then I guess 4 days later, it was actually the night before the prom came out. So, oh my God, it was a year ago today, because today's December 10th. Yeah. So yeah, a year ago today, I literally remember it. My manager called and said, we found out you're going to be having a chemistry read, or like a mix and match. And then I got off the phone with her, and then my mom and I stayed up till midnight and watched the prom that night. Like, it was all just so at the same time. And what's also insane is when we found out there were billboards for the prom. This was, I think, the 1st of December. Even though like obviously was not on them, but I just was so excited. My mom and I literally drove for an hour to LA just to see the billboards in person. And I filmed that. I didn't end up posting that on my YouTube channel, but I included that in a clip in the video that I made when I went to see the billboards for the J Team. But in that video, and this is all just so full circle and wild, but my mom said when she was recording me running to the billboard, she said something about like, only thing cooler would be if Julia was on those billboards, that's coming soon. Totally just saying that to be a supportive mom. And then 8 months later, we were driving to see the billboards that I got to be on. So pretty wild, but oh yeah, the audition process. So and the mix and match. And at that point I was only down to Ruby D. So yeah, so they said, you're being considered for Ruby D, but here's the material for Ruby M just in case. And they sent me the full script. So when I got the script that was watermarked with my name and it said property of Nickelodeon, I just had that moment of like, please, 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 I want this so badly. And so I did the chemistry read. It went fine. It didn't have the magic that the other rounds had. And that's when I read with JoJo, and then Carrington Jones, who plays Ruby M in the movie, read for Ruby M in my chemistry read, and I was reading for Ruby D. Something just didn't feel right in the chemistry read. And I got off the Zoom and I just started crying because I was like, something just didn't feel right. I didn't get it. And I mean, I went from like here to here. I was sitting in the corner of my closet, just a mess because I wanted this so badly. And like you put your entire heart and soul into these auditions. And when it's a project that speaks to you and you can just see it and it all makes so much sense, and then you don't get it, it is heart-wrenching. It's so crazy. And this project, from the initial audition email, I just felt it. I was like, this just feels so right. So when I didn't get it, I was like what happened? So 2 days later, I was going on a picnic with a friend because I was just like, all right, it's time to like get going a little bit. So we go to Albertsons to get some snacks, and we're walking out of Albertsons. I'm like holding whatever I'm holding. And the manager calls me, and I didn't even think, I swear, I didn't think anything of it. I just answered the phone, and she said, I don't think she said hi. She goes, "Where are you?" And I was like, parking lot of Albertsons. And then she says, in 30, maybe it was less than 30 minutes, but she said, in 30 minutes, you're going to have a Zoom session with the casting directors for a different role. And when I look back at it, I'm like, how was I not so excited? But I think I was so heartbroken from not getting the role. I didn't even have it in me to like shoot back up again. I was just like, okay. And so we got in the car, we drove to my house. My poor friend like sat in the backyard for an hour as I got ready and did the session and everything. My parents, like, I just had to set up my whole area, print out the script, try to like prepare a character. I'd never even heard of Nina before. And well, I guess I did have the full script, but I didn't really pay much attention to the characters that I think wasn't auditioning for. So anyway, I just hop on the Zoom, and then all of a sudden I just did another callback for a character that I had never heard of. Like, it's crazy. And I felt that it when, honestly, I didn't feel them. I don't know. It just happened. That night, I found out that the next day I was going to be having a producer session for Nina. And at this point, it's just so whirlwind. I was just like, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. I am just so beyond, like, it's crazy, right? So the next day I have the producer session. And then that night we find out that I'm like one of three. Like, I'm in the final, and it's now up to the network, and we'll know by Monday. The deal has to be closed by Monday, and this was Friday. And then they start telling us like, oh, if you book it, you'll be staying at this hotel in Vancouver. You'll be experiencing this, this, and this. And I was just like, oh my God, you can't break my heart again. We can't go through this again. And then obviously on Monday, I did get the call that I booked it. And yeah, I mean, I still can't believe that it all happened. Like, I have the poster hanging on my wall over here, and I look at it when I come into my room every day, and I'm just like, what? It's so crazy.
How long was the audition process? That sounded very, very long.
It was a month long.
Oh, okay. I guess with just like every single session, it just kind of felt a little bit longer. All right. Did COVID-19 impact your filming?
Yeah. I mean, I auditioned, like, the entire process for me doing this movie was in COVID. So it wasn't like we shut down and had to change our ways, but we were wearing the K9, I don't know what they're called, but like the heavy duty masks and a shield for all of our rehearsals, which were like around 8 hours. So we were dancing we did everything with full protection. And the only time we took our masks and shields off were to film. So we'd like get hair and makeup done in the morning and then put our masks on and put our shields on. So there were a lot of makeup touch-ups, obviously. We got tested, I think, every 3 days. We didn't really hang out outside of work, and we couldn't really do much just because we had to stay safe. So of course, I'm sure the experience would have been different, but given the circumstances, I just feel so grateful. And I was just like, I will do whatever it takes to stay safe. That was everyone's first priority, is staying safe. And we didn't have any shutdowns. I mean, everyone really did what they had to do, and we made it through. So
nice.
Yeah.
How long was the filming for the J Team?
So I was in Canada for 2 months with my mom. we had a quarantine for 2 weeks. We rehearsed in person for 2 weeks, and then we filmed for 4 weeks, but I only was on set for 9 days.
Oh,
I wasn't, yeah. So it actually felt really, really quick on set. Um, but the filming process was a month.
nice. So how did you balance school, family, and work as a child?
Growing up, I wasn't like really working in LA. I would say up until high school-ish. I was just doing community theater, and I don't know, it's not like insanely time consuming, you know what I mean? So I was in traditional school, and I would just, go to school, go to like dance class or rehearse for a show. And it really wasn't until I started doing professional theater where it became a lot to balance, because I started actually working in the adult ensemble when I was 14, and that would rehearse 30 something hours a week. And we'd get out of rehearsal at 11 p.m. And so that was tricky. So when high school came around, my parents and I decided, it was my decision, supported by my parents, to start doing online school. So for all 4 years of high school, I did an independent hybrid program where I went to school, did a few in-person classes, but most of it was online. And that just gave me the flexibility I needed to never worry that something was like taking priority over school, because I was able to balance it with if I was on set or how to like work. Like for the prom, I was 17, but I was legal 18, so I'd taken the chess P when I was, I guess, 15. I don't remember. So I was working as an adult, but I was still in high school, and we'd have rehearsals that were, all day long. And if I was in traditional school, I mean, and I was a junior, or I was a senior, and like it's just so hard to balance when school's important to you, especially. So I'm grateful for that.
It's so funny, like listening to your story. We have very similar stories.
Really?
Yeah, I graduated at 16,
Wow.
so that I could, so I like got all my work done in 2020, and I graduated then so that I could spend more time on my acting and my singing. But before then, I actually did online school. So
Oh,
before I graduated. So yeah, our stuff is our stories are very, very similar. It's
I love
very
that.
weird listening. I'm like, this kind of sounds like my story.
Yeah.
All right. My next question is, what is your favorite type of character to play?
Um, Definitely. I mean, the role that I had in the J Team Nina, that was like my first acting role. So I don't have like much to really decide from, but I love comedy. So right now, that's just really where my heart is, and I hope to do many more roles like that in the future.
Nice. So the next question is, if you weren't an actor, what would you want to be?
There's so many things that I want to do and plan on doing, in my career. I really, really want to be an author, and I want to be the founder of a theater company for people with special needs, and I want to be a public speaker. Like there's so many, parts that come with like, I guess come with being an actor, but I look at people like Reese Witherspoon or Will Smith, and I'm just so inspired. Like, yes, they're an actor, but they're also like writer, producer, author, all of these incredible things. And so I think maybe if I wasn't like passionate about acting and performing in theater, maybe I would, I don't know. I mean, it's just who I am. So I can't even give you an answer, but maybe I would just focus more on the other things like writing, or I don't know, honestly.
You're sort of just like a jack of all trades, right?
Sure, for sure.
Um, the next question is, if you had one piece of advice to give to an aspiring actor, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so much, but I guess something really, really important to remember is that you are the CEO of your brand, and not just your brand, your life. Like you are in the driver's seat of your life, and any dream that you have, or any, like, it is all possible and within reach. And if there's people who not only tell you that it's not possible, because I feel like I've been fortunate and no one's just been downright like, your dreams are not achievable. But if not everyone gets you or understands you, that's perfectly okay. And you are, at the end of the day, the only one that can really stop yourself from achieving what you want to achieve.
That's a wonderful piece of advice. If people wanted to follow you or learn more about your career, how would they do so?
I guess I'm really only present on Instagram and YouTube. And I feel like YouTube's cool because I get to show a little bit more about the behind the scenes if I'm working or just kind of my day-to-day life or what I'm up to. So, and I forgot to mention that when you asked about what else I do, because I love editing. I'm really, really, really passionate about editing and video production. And I just love connecting with others through my YouTube channel. So I'm really, really passionate about that. And then, of course, there's Instagram, which is always great.
How did you even start your YouTube channel?
Oh my gosh, I feel like every kid has the thought of like, oh, maybe I can have a YouTube channel. And I've been making videos for so long. It's never been consistent where I was like posting, every week. But I don't know. I wanted to, I think it started when I would like do a fun thing and I was like, oh, I want to vlog. And now I'm so glad that I have those videos to look back and I'm like, I can't believe how little I looked. I can't believe how much I didn't know was coming. It's just so special to have like a video diary. And so, yeah, I just started making videos like that. And to be honest, I would get so inspired. Like, I think this is cool. On Instagram, if it's just a post, say someone posts like a deadline article or an accomplishment of any sort, it's incredible, but you have no idea what it took for them to get there. And when I started watching vlogs actually of kids who danced in LA, I think those were the first vlogs I really saw on YouTube. Because I would look at these kids and see their Instagrams. They'd post like dance videos at like Millennium, and they'd post that they're like on jobs and all this stuff. And I was like, what does their life actually look like for them to do that? Because like, I want to do all that, but what am I missing? And a lot of these kids would post vlogs on YouTube where they would share like, oh, I went to school. Now I'm doing my homework in the car. I'm going to an audition. I'm going to 3 dance classes. And I was like, wow, okay. I just felt so inspired by seeing more of the behind the scenes. And I just was like, I want to impact others the way I have been impacted from other people's YouTube channels. So that's really where my passion came from.
Well, nice. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview, and
Having me.
and thank you all for watching. Remember, December this month is just about empowering our youth and teaching them that little acts of kindness really do help. Remember, if you do want to donate to our Step for Santa project, we do have 300 kids this year that we are helping. If you do find it in your heart to donate, please do so at www.performancewithpurposefoundation.com. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next interview. Bye.
Thank you.